Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got a red-hot topic to break down. Khamzat Chimaev just made a bold statement that's already blowing up across the MMA community and the media. According to Chimaev, he believes he should be ranked #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And here's his exact quote. "I don't care who makes the P4P rankings. Of course, I should be #1. Sounds cocky, right? But honestly, that's always been Khamzat. Confident, fearless, and ready to call out anyone. But let's take a step back. Does he actually have a point? And more importantly, has he truly earned that #1 spot? So first off, what is pound for pound, and why does it matter? The pound for pound rankings are basically the list of the best fighters on the planet, no matter the weight class. It's not just about holding belts, it's about dominance, skill, style, and how you beat your opponents. Being #1 P4P means you're the face of the UFC. Legends like John Jones, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Anderson Silva, Georges St. Pierre, and even Conor McGregor at his peak, those are the guys who've been there. It's an elite club. Now, let's see why Chimaev thinks he deserves that #1 spot. He's still undefeated. He just destroyed Dricus du Plessis to become UFC champion. He didn't just win, he made du Plessis look absolutely helpless inside the octagon. And remember, du Plessis wasn't some nobody. He was the undefeated middleweight champ, the guy who took out 2 former champions and cleared out his division. Everyone thought he was unstoppable. And yet, Khamzat walked in and completely dismantled him. Fighters and analysts like Chael Sonnen, Henry Cejudo, Demetrius Johnson, Israel Adesanya, most of them predicted du Plessis would beat Chimaev, especially after 2 rounds. The only big names who believed in Chimaev were Kamaru Usman and Khabib Nurmagomedov. And honestly, it makes sense. Usman felt that dominance firsthand when he fought Khamzat. He knows exactly how dangerous Boris really is. But now, after the fight, a lot of those same people are trying to downplay the win. Suddenly, they're saying du Plessis wasn't that good, that it wasn't a real test for Chimaev. Basically, everyone switched sides overnight, and it's kind of funny to watch. And here's the kicker. For the longest time, critics said Chimaev has terrible cardio, that he's dangerous in the first 2 rounds, but after that, his gas tank runs empty. Well, what did we just witness? Yes, Chimaev is ready to go all 5 rounds, even though most of his wins have been quick finishes. But here's the big question. What happens if he gets dragged into a real war where stamina and mental toughness are the key? Well, we already got part of that answer in his fight against Dricus du Plessis. Now, the problem with middleweight is the limited pool of opponents. Right now, his resume doesn't include names like Adesanya or Sean Strickland. But let's be real, if Chimaev was able to dominate and take down du Plessis, it's not hard to imagine him running through both Strickland and Adesanya in the same night. And honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised. So, what about the pound for pound rankings? Important to note, they don't update immediately after a fight. It usually takes a few days. Before the du Plessis fight, Chimaev was sitting at #14 inch, the P4P rankings. After that performance, I'd say he easily deserves to be at least in the top 3, right alongside Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. Now, how the UFC will shuffle those spots is another story. Maybe they'll put Islam at #1, Chimaev at #2, and Topuria at #3. And honestly, that would be fair, considering Topuria skipped a fight with Movsar Evloev, jumped divisions, and got a title shot against Charles Oliveira, who was already on the decline, losing to both Islam and Arman Tsarukyan. My personal opinion, Chimaev deserves that spot more than Topuria. But at the end of the day, it's up to the UFC, and we'll know for sure in the next few days when the rankings update after UFC 319. Now, let's talk UFC politics. Even if Chimaev deserves that #1 spot, UFC doesn't always make those decisions based only on merit. Business plays a big role. So, what's next? For Chimaev to really lock in his place at the top and maybe even take over the #1 pound-for-pound ranking he needs to, defend his belt at least twice against top contenders. Maybe chase a second belt. And most importantly, prove he can win, not just with quick grappling, but in different styles. If he beats someone like Alex Pereira or Magomed Ankalaev, then the debate ends. Even the biggest skeptics would have to admit his greatness. Final thoughts. So, Chimaev saying he should already be #1 P4P? Bold. Yes, but not without truth. He's proven himself to be a machine inside the octagon. But let's be honest, his journey to the very top isn't over yet. Tough challenges still await, and those fights will decide if he truly deserves the title of the best of the best. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with Chimaev? Should he already be #1? Or do you think it's still too soon and he's got more work to do? I've got a few arguments in favor of Chimaev, and here's why. You gotta understand, guys, Khamzat's got some serious cards up his sleeve. First, he's undefeated. Not just that he rarely even loses rounds to his opponents. Second, dominance over the elite. Wins over Gerald Meerschaert, Gilbert Burns, Kamaru Usman, and now Dricus du Plessis. That's a killer resume. Third, the potential to become the first 3-division champ in UFC history. Khamzat has already said he's ready to fight at welterweight, middleweight, and even light heavyweight. If he actually grabs 3 belts, that's it. He's automatically #1, P4P, no debate. And let's be real, this is more than just sport. It's show business. Khamzat is one of the most talked about fighters in the UFC, and his name alone pulls in millions of views and headlines. But what do you guys think? Drop your opinions in the comments below. Will the UFC put Khamzat Chimaev at the top of the pound-for-pound rankings? And who should be his next opponent? Honestly, I think the UFC is planning to give Khamzat a welterweight title fight against Jack Della Maddalena, but only if he gets past Islam Makhachev. Because let's be real, if Maddalena somehow beats Islam, then facing Khamzat Chimaev would be a nightmare. Most likely, he gets absolutely destroyed. But if Makhachev beats Maddalena, then that fight with Khamzat is almost impossible to make. There are just too many close ties between them. So what do you guys think? Would you want to see Islam Makhachev versus Khamzat Chimaev? Does that matchup excite you?